Greetings, Wesleyan family. My name is Kevin Byrne, and I am the Chief Financial Officer of the Wesleyan. As most of you know, our nation and world at large is in the midst of a global pandemic known as COVID-19. We are also dealing with a very serious civil rights issue in our country. In times like these, I think it is critically important for us to operate under the golden rule and band together as one community for the good of all. This crisis has reminded me of another catastrophic event that has plagued our nation. It occurred on September 11, 2001. September 11th was very personal for me. First, because I was born and raised in New York. Second, because two of my brothers worked as first responders at Ground Zero. One is a New York City Battalion Fire Chief. The other is a New York City Police Lieutenant. They were truly heroes in my book. But I was much more touched by a citizen first responder. His name was Pablo Ortiz, and he is known as the hero of the 88th floor. You see, on the morning of September 11, 2001, Diane DeFontes had just settled into her workspace on the 89th floor of the North Tower when an explosion threw her from her chair. With no way of knowing that the blast was part of a terror attack, DeFontes and her co-workers gathered as the smell of jet fuel and smoke filled the office. They discovered that all entrances to the emergency stairwells were damaged in the attack, and they were trapped. As desperation was settling in, recalled DeFontes, a man in a yellow hard hat and flashlight burst through a jammed door with a crowbar and told the group, "We have to go now." The man was Pablo Ortiz, a former U.S. Navy SEAL who worked as a construction superintendent with the Port Authority. After he and three colleagues, including Frank DeMartini, felt the explosion from one floor below, they grabbed tools and headed up the stairs. Their mission was to free those who were trapped by removing impediments and jammed doors and falling debris. Ortiz led the charge on the 89th floor, guiding the group to a different exit and prying open a buckled door frame that blocked the exit. Once the group was safely on their way down the stairs, Ortiz left them and continued on to help others. Pablo's wife, Edna, told a museum oral historian that she was communicating with her husband that morning via pager. At 10:28, her last page to him remained unanswered. At this moment, she said, she turned to her television and watched her husband's building crumbled before her eyes. Altogether, Ortiz, DeMartini, Pete Negron, and Carlos DaCosta helped at least 50 trapped people by acting as citizen first responders. Today, a white rose on the 9/11 memorial marks what would have been Ortiz's birthday and honors a man who gave his life so that others could live. So let me tell you about a modern day hero, a well-educated man, a recent immigrant from Pakistan, a Wesleyan teammate that came to work for us about 2 years ago. His name is Yusar Mushtaq, and he is our purchasing director. Yusar had a tough time in the beginning of his employment with us. You see, Yusar was not readily accepted by some in our community at first, mainly because of his nationality. I'm sure the events of 9/11 did not help in this regard, but Yusar quickly embraced our mission to create a ministry of health and aging services that nourishes body, mind, and spirit so that all those we serve live abundantly. When COVID-19 began to impact our community, Yusar quickly mobilized his team to secure an abundant supply of personal protective equipment, also known as PPE. By the way, if you've not heard the news, PPE has been in short supply. Many days, Yusar worked until 3 or 4 in the morning to talk with suppliers around the globe. He was able to negotiate pricing of up to 50% less than we've been able to obtain through our group purchasing organization with Leading Age. Our corporate office was quickly turned into a supply room. With the help of our maintenance crew, Yusar drove several times to Austin to pick up available free PPE supplies to deliver to our communities. Our projected spend for PPE over the next 90 days has now been reduced 63%. When I checked in with Yusar recently, his main concern was the safety of our teammates and residents. When I thanked Yusar for his efforts, his next comment humbled me. It is only through God that I do these things. He is the one that sustains me. The words of an everyday hero.